try to reach samadhi. And so I think we have to be careful that we don't fall into various archon traps by, and I'm not saying that Credo or David or archons are working for him. I just think that the archons put a lot of stories out trying to cover their tracks. And in the garden, Gnostics believe, for instance, that in the Garden of Eden, that the snake was the good guy, and that snake was trying to show Eve the apple, the hyperdimensional Taurus, and saying, see the tree of knowledge, the tree that you're a hyperdimensional being, the secret of alchemy, in fact, and God, Jehovah, the King Archon, who told us that we couldn't eat of the tree of knowledge. So, what is the reptile the bad guy? No, the reptile is the Kundalini wrapped up the spine of the tree, releasing the hyperdimensional knowledge to Eve. And if you just twist the ideas around, you can see that sometimes the archons have devious ways of rewriting our myths.
Okay, thank you, Jay. I guess it is true. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Okay, I believe the next question is from Patrick. Patrick, could you ask a question?
Yeah, Jay, I'm fascinated with your literal interpretation of the Purana texts and the Gnostic view of the Nag Hammadi concerning the archons and their ties to Mars. Even Rush Limbaugh discussed a secret Gore report in March of 2004 where he stated that people from Mars are controlling, polluting, and destroying our planet. At the time, they were still here running Enron and Raytheon. Had you ever come across that?
Yes, I have. In fact, it's one of my favorite bits of radio. I have it highlighted on my front page of my computer.
I also recall a well-known remote viewer recognizing that the others were walking among us. I think it was in Penetration by Ingo Swann. It reminds me also of the TV series The Event. Maybe you're aware of that show as well.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
It's a new, I think, NBC series. The theme includes a group of ageless humanoids stranded on Earth from long ago. They're engaged in long-range planning for the purpose of escaping off-planet, perhaps before an event. I wonder if that, or the motive behind this stuff is perhaps conditioning or disclosure.
Well, I guarantee you one thing, it's a ripoff. Yeah, this wouldn't be the first time that Hollywood's ripped me off. I'm going to have to see that show. Yeah, I didn't know that was going on. Well, that's very interesting.
The Event. They just finished the first season.
I'll get it on DVD. I don't know, I know people in Hollywood and everything, and there's definitely something, how do I say this? I'll tell you something absolutely mind-blowing. This just happened to me last night. I was watching the film Kingdom of Heaven with Ridley Scott, who directed it. 2005 it came out, right? And it's a movie about the fall of Jerusalem in the 1200s when Saladin took over Jerusalem. It's a great movie, very very well done. Cost millions of dollars. And I was watching it on Blu-ray. I just got it. And and the hero of the movie is talking to a guy, and the guy's telling him about him going to Jerusalem and that it's surrounded by enemies and that one day Jerusalem will fall. And there on the head of the forehead of the hero, who has a dirty face in the scene, is etched the numbers very clearly, 2012. And so, I saw this, and I froze it, and I took a screen capture of it, and I've been showing it to my friends. And we're going, no, it is so clear that it says 2012 on his head that you just have to wonder, is Jerusalem going to fall in 2012? And why would they go to all this effort to tell us something like that in a movie? And what is Hollywood doing? And I think Hollywood is, great artists, the greatest artists of our age, go to Hollywood. I went there. They go to Hollywood and they want to get into the industry so that they can get money to finance, their creations. And they fall into a archonic trap. And the only way that they can get out the truth is through subliminal messages, which again comes right back around to where we started with Kubrick. And this is my first one of the Kubrick film is really going to unload a lot. But the second one, I'm going to show that Kubrick is using subliminal messages all through his films to tell us a whole story about the hidden masters, the archons. And he specifically calls them archons. It's really amazing and incredibly fascinating. And we just have to come to grips that these people, if they are people, they really exist. They really do rule the world. And that people like Ridley Scott and Stanley Kubrick, who were friends with each other, try to get out the truth, I guess, sometimes. And I think in this film, Kingdom of Heaven, he's trying to tell us that this film is being made by the rulers to get it in our heads that Jerusalem's going to fall to the Muslims. And that's the whole point of making the film, is a kind of a mind control propaganda thing, so that we understand historically that the Muslims had Jerusalem. And then he's etching on the guy's forehead the numbers 2012, as if to tell us, years before anything of the 2012 stuff was going on, that it would happen in 2012.
Thanks, Jay. I wonder if the Aryan or Archon organization or their minions were responsible for collecting artifacts during World War II and might still be at it through the stealth Baghdad raids and recent Egyptian museum thefts. We can't rule out those midnight pyramid excavations rumored last summer. Do you have any ideas who's doing what and why?
Oh, that's definitely the Archons trying to remove any vestige of ability for us to discern the truth. You bet that is, and they're doing it everywhere they go. They've been doing it for a long, long time, hundreds of years, and it is such a clean sweep that it's jaw-dropping. And that's another reason why we have to get alchemy out now, because they're not looking. They're so busy with the final rape of the planet and the escape plan, and putting in the most absolutely the worst gangsters imaginable are being put into power now, and now the chaos is coming, and the wars and the civil wars, and I just can't see how the infrastructure can hold together through the chaos that's coming.
Regarding the Aryans, can you discuss any collaborative theories with respect to the Norway spiral and speculation that it might have been a show of force?
Yeah, on the same day that Obama went to Oslo to get the Peace Prize that he didn't deserve, and the Putin decided that he was going to launch a missile to show off Russia and how big their middle leg was, and so kind of a provocative move, and then the spiral seemed to grab the missile in midair and just stop it and freeze it, and it was a show of force by the Archons. The Archons are gone pretty much off planet now, and they've left it to the gangsters. And so now the gangsters are fighting, but the Archons or Aryans, whatever you want to call them, their problem is that they think everyone thinks like they think. And so they think that we're planning on going and raiding them where they're safe. And so they need to eviscerate all of our militaries. So that we can't get beyond the realm of just earthly orbit. And by the way, we may never have been outside of earthly orbit as humans. It may only be Archons who can even go off planet. If the theory of Sophia is correct, it may not even be possible for humans to get very far from the Earth's magnetic field without dying. I'm not sure. So, I mean, I don't know what these guys have done to themselves experimentally, and I don't know what they've done to us, but I know they've done something.
Thank you, Jay. Sandra, I believe you have a question for Jay.
Yes, one of our members, Rathburn, had a question, which was, what source do you use for the physical description of the archons? Any first or second-hand accounts?
Well, I will defer to the best book ever written about the subject, which is, of course, Not in His Image by my friend John Lamb Lash. He's the one that's combed the ancient texts, Nag Hammadi especially, for the Archon work. But the Archons are not really described. Their descriptions of them are always varied. It's only when you go to the Purana texts and you realize that there's a link between the Archons and the Aryans, in that they were called Archons, as Archon meant kind of like king in Sanskrit. And so the Archons were the kings, and they had blue skin or translucent white, depending on the light that you saw them in, and they had, they were tall, and the descriptions are all there. And we can go back into. It's funny, in early UFO literature, you see a lot of these beings, but then later they seem to have been replaced by the Greys, and I suspect the Greys may be some kind of biological parasite that they've invented or something to do their duty, so that they don't get seen. They don't want to be seen anymore. That's why they've disappeared. That's why you don't see vampires anymore, because they've all disappeared. No, again, though, you look at the vampire myths and how they're mind controlling the kids to want to be vampires, and you really have to wonder, what the goal of it is. And the goal is to remove us from our humanness. It's for us to willingly give up our humanness, to give up our emotions. By taking Prozac, you're giving up your emotional state. Give up, our connection to nature, to give up our connection to each other, to give up love and community and all the great things that human beings should be doing, creating art and all of it, music, and that's what they want us to. They want us to be automatons. They want us to be robots. And when we finally succumb to this, then they are completely and totally victorious.
And I guess, Jay, it's similar to the old vampire myth where they couldn't come into your house unless you them to come in. So it's, I guess, them compelling you or tricking you into allowing you to do something.
It's incredible. They've actually tricked women into thinking that working in a godforsaken corporation is liberation. They've got us thinking, that taking their pharmaceutical